Welcome to episode 13 of Book Read. I'm going to Birmingham, UK in a couple of seconds' time to meet incredibly talented musician, but equally as impressive an author, the amazing Des Tong, to read from his book, Whatever It Takes, Babe. I think it's time to go and meet Des. The amazing Des Tong, welcome to your book read. I felt like, is it Mike Canas? This is your life. Was that James, wasn't it? Welcome to your book read. How are you doing, sir?
I'm absolutely fantastic. I mean, I have got to say, the weather over here at the minute is unbelievable.
You are having really weird, you're having Mexican weather, mate.
Yeah.
At the moment. Let's hope it lasts, you don't get snow in the end of May, June time.
You never know.
Not in England, mate, because this is kind of unprecedented as well, really. I mean, I've had a couple of Februaries where I've kind of sat out in the garden sunbathing 18 degrees, but you're up in like the mid to high 20s, aren't you, right now?
Yeah.
Bad. Well, let's hope you get a decent summer. That's the it's not, this is it. No, what a good old blight is like. Whereabouts are you in the UK?
I'm in Birmingham.
Oh, this seems to be a current trend of the book show at the moment. I'm loving that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mr. Tracy and DG Torrens as well, and Lee Benson.
Lee Benson. Yeah.
Amazing, mate. So today we're going to talk about you and your book, Whatever It Takes, Babe, which is Pete Peterson tapes.
Yeah.
Obviously, I did do some research on Pete Peterson. I found out he was a Texan accountant, so obviously the books aren't about him. But I'll let you explain that in a minute. What I would like first is for you to give me a little bit of a background on why you decided to become an author, what happened.
Well, yes, it was never ever down on my to-do list. But in 2017, I was working on a local TV channel here in Birmingham. And I came up with the concept of a program where myself and drummer called Bev Bevan, who was with The Move, and then he was with ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
And we drove around Birmingham in a car. Well, I drove, and we talked about all the old venues, musical landmarks, bands, musicians, clubs, pubs, everything. And it became the most watched program. We did three programs, the most watched programs on local TV. It hit a spot, nostalgia.
Yeah.
People would stop me in the street and say, I met my wife in that club.
Amazing.
Or, guys would say like, yeah, we used to go down to that bar, me and my mates, and it was fantastic. So a really, really good friend of mine, a lady called Sissy Stone, who I work with and write music with, she said to me, why don't you write a book about it? Well, there's been loads of books about Birmingham music, and there's no way that I could get anywhere near the research that they've already done. So I thought, well, no, I won't do that. But what I will do is, and again, this was totally out of the blue, I thought, I'll write a story and I'll create 3 characters. So I created a club owner, his wife, and a musician. And I based it on things like the chat between myself and Bev as we drove round, the anecdotes that we were talking about, the old stories, the urban myths that, did it happen or didn't it happen? And I took all of those. I mean, I've been in the industry for 5 decades, so I've got plenty of stories.
Considering you're only 46, that's even more.
And I just mixed them all up. I turned them upside down, and then I would, if it was possibly about a bloke, I'd make it as a woman, or just to completely mess it up. And I wrote this book, and I really enjoyed it. So when I finished, Sad Café, the band I'm with, we were playing at a gig up just outside Manchester. And a lady that I knew for a while now, she's actually a DJ on Radio Caroline. She came to the gig, and we were talking in the bar afterwards, and I said to her, so, you know, this radio, is that what you do? And she said, no, she said, I'm a proofreader. Hello. Okay. So I sent her my book, and she got straight back to me, and she went, wow, I'm absolutely loving this. You got to do another one.
Great.
And she helped me edit it. And then I went over to the States, to Lake Worth in Florida to visit a friend. And I took my iPad with me. And I started working on the second book, which I wanted to base in America. So, and I'm always watching things. I'm always picking up ideas. Like there's a place in Florida you go through on the train called Boca Raton.
Okay. Oh,
so one of my cartels is called Rotobacan.
Okay. Love it.
And then there was a place called Benny's on the Beach, where I used to go for my prawns or shrimps, as whatever they call them. And also there was another place that I used to go for breakfast called Mulligan's. So there's a character, Benny Mulligan is one of my characters.
So part of that, you know, they're all coming from experiences and
yeah. So then lockdown hit. And so I spent lockdown writing. That was my salvation. Okay. I used to get up in the morning, and I would sit and write until about 6 o'clock at night. And it just kept me going. Sweet. And I ended up doing 5 books.
Nice.
They all follow on. The endings, there's an ending, but there's always a doorway for you to go through. You want to...
You can read them as an individual unit, or you can literally...
Yes. Yeah, but you want to know, if you read it, then you'll want to know what happens, because the next one just carries on. And I just absolutely loved it. Then when lockdown finished, I was playing with Sad Café again. We were doing a place in Birmingham called the Jam House, which is a great venue. And a guy that was on your show the other week, Lee Benson, who's a very old friend of mine, came to see the band.
Not because he's old, obviously. Just you've known him a long time. Not because he's old.
No.
Very old friend of mine.
Sorry, Lee. But Lee came and he said, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. And he introduced me to Andrew Spark, again, who's been on your show. And Andrew said to me, he said, Lee says you've written an autobiography. And I said, no. I've actually written, it's fiction. And he said, sounds interesting. What's it about? And I said, well, sex, drugs, rock and roll, terrorism and violence. Not necessarily in that order. Okay. They always say write about what you know. So he said, send it to me. And 2 days later, he rang me and he said, I can't put it down. I love it.
Oh, amazing.
We want to do it. So I said, great. I said, I've got another 4. So he was like, well, let's have a look at this one first and then we'll go. So because I'd edited with this friend of mine, this was in the April and it came out in the May of 2023. So, that was whatever it takes, babe. And that was the catchphrase that the club owner, that was his catchphrase. And the reason we stuck babe on the end was because I think Amazon have this thing about duplicating of titles.
Right.
So there's probably about 10 different whatever it takes, babe, whatever it takes. But by sticking babe on the end, it puts it into a different category.
Great.
So that sort of works. So now, having learnt from that, I spend a lot of time looking at titles to make sure that I don't duplicate them.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the first part of a 5-book series, pretty much.
Yes. This is where it all all comes from. It's
you've also told us a bit about the book as well, so I don't need to ask you about it because that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you ever read your own books?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, one thing is when I'm editing them and I'm proofreading them, I'd read them probably 3, 4, 5 times. Oh, okay. And every time I read it, I find either a mistake or something that makes me think, hang on a minute, I could do that better.
Right.
And also the beauty of doing it on a computer is that certainly with subsequent books, like I know for a fact that in book 2 something happens, and in book 4 the consequences of that are made. But when I first did it, I didn't make enough of it.
Right.
But when I was reading book 4, I thought to myself, I need to make more of that in book 2. That people won't necessarily go, oh yeah, what's he talking? They'll take notice of it, but they won't really. It won't click with them until they read book 4, and then they'll go, oh, now I know why he was going about in book 2.
Wow, super. And the fact you didn't release them pretty much one at a time, you had that chance to go back and almost kind of adapt.
That's right.
That's amazing, man. Well, I'm very excited. How's it been received publicly?
It's fantastic. I've got loads of great 5-star reviews.
Nice, man.
It's interesting that a lot of the Sad Café fans have picked up on it. And when we do concerts, quite a lot of people bring them books along for me to sign. Which is cool. The band hate it, but tough. And I've got this.
They're just jealous of your shine, mate. That's what it is.
And I've got this thing going as well on my website. People who buy. I mean, it's not Shakespeare. It's a great holiday read. But they all take them on holiday, and then they send photographs back of where they are.
Great.
So I've got people in Dubai. I've got all over Europe, Egypt.
Nice, right?
This one guy, he's in Tasmania. He took my book out and sent me a picture back. So that's the deal now. I get people to, when they buy it, take it on holiday, send me a picture.
Hopefully more than you.
Well, I mean, if I could get the air miles, they'd be laughing.
That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Bloody, that's amazing, mate. I am desperate to hear you read some. Are you up for that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so this is the prologue of Whatever It Takes, Babe. And it sort of gives you the flavour of what it's about. Okay, so it's the opening night of the brand new £1 million music club, the Lexxicon. The coloured spotlights dramatically cut through the atmospheric haze enveloping the 3 figures standing centre stage. In the middle, wearing his new Anderson and Shepherd suit, multi-millionaire owner Gerry Fortuna is looking great. He has few vices, but handmade suits from his favourite tailors in Savile Row are one. His latest, a dark blue double-breasted cut from the finest Italian silk, fits him like a glove. With an open neck white cotton shirt and the exquisite gold cufflinks bought as a wedding anniversary present by his wife Janine, he looks every bit the successful club owner. Even with slight lifts in his black leather Ferragamo loafers, Gerry is just 5 feet 6 inches tall, with cropped dark brown hair and a bull-like neck. He is the image of his late father Antonio, an Italian immigrant from Tuscany. At his right-hand side, his wife Janine, wearing a figure-hugging, backlit cobalt blue Yves Saint Laurent evening gown, looks stunning. At 5 foot 10 inches, plus her heels, she towers over Gerry, but he is such a powerful character, nobody notices. Or if they did, they would never have the nerve to comment. On the stage, she seems noticeably excited at being involved in the events happening tonight, though not many there would know the smile is a mask hiding the conflicting emotions swirling around inside her head. Over on the other side of Gerry, rock star Pete Peterson is the epitome. I always get that wrong. Is the epitome of cool. Dressed in his trademark leather jacket and jeans, he is secretly wishing he could smoke the joint in his pocket. He and his band The Flames are about to play their set to celebrate the opening of the club. Gerry's white Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, registration GF1, is parked outside, a symbol of his wealth and power. The Lexxicon is the newest and biggest addition to the nightclub scene in the city. Tonight it's packed with punters, friends and celebrity guests from the world of music, sport and politics. Even the police are represented by the Chief Constable George Williams and his aptly named right-hand man DCI Law. All in all, it couldn't get much better for Gerry right now. His music management company, Fortuna Artists Management, are representing Pete Peterson, who has just signed a very lucrative recording deal with Westoria Records in the States that morning. Things are on the verge of really taking off. Looking out from the stage, he can see the majority of the crowd consists of Pete's faithful followers, pushing right to the front, excitedly waiting for his performance. The atmosphere in the room is electric, and everyone there seems to sense that something big is going to happen before the night is over. So much has been happening over the past few days, Gerry can hardly believe he is standing here soaking up the atmosphere. But behind the bravado lies a dark secret, which, were it to be revealed, could bring his empire crashing down, destroying everything he's worked so hard to create. So, that's the prologue. That's the intro to the story, which takes us into the dark underbelly of violence and corruption and terrorism and everything to do with what was going on in the late 60s, which is where the book starts. It's called Whatever It Takes, Babe. It's out on Amazon. It's got lots of great 5-star reviews, and I'd love you to read it. You won't be disappointed.
Amazing, mate. Well, everyone now is obviously, I mean, Amazon. Where is it available? Actually, I'm kind of assuming Amazon, but
yeah, it's if you're in the States, it's Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
But Amazon over here, and
cool.
It's on. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it on in hardback and paperback as well.
Sweet, mate. Do you want to give us a little kind of a sneaky, any gossip on book 2?
Book 2 is based in America. Pete actually, because he signed for this American label, he goes over to the States, and there's a lot of things go on. I mean, you know, like I said, I've done lots of touring, and things happen on the tour bus. I mean, can I just give you a bit of 2?
Well, I think you can, but I think we should also do a book read about book 2 as well.
All right. Well, this is just the thing. It's the sort of thing that happens when you're on tour. So I'll just whip through it pretty quickly. They're on the tour bus, and they're on the way to the Fillmore in San Francisco. And Pete notices that the keyboard player has this habit of waiting until everybody's tired and then putting on a dreadful video and everybody goes off to the bunks to bed. And when they all go off to bed, mysteriously all the food in the fridge disappears. So I'm not saying this happened, but I'm not denying it. So and names have been changed to protect the innocent. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But he chuckled. Pete chuckles to himself as he watched Richard removed the covering from his bowl of salad and started to devour the contents. He'd had a few mouthfuls and was contentedly munching away when suddenly he jumped up and ran back to the fridge, frantically opening the door and rapidly swallowing the best part of a large bottle of beer. He finished it with the next gulp, clearly in some distress. The following morning, as they were all sitting round eating breakfast, Richard wandered out from the sleeping section at the back of the bus. Don, who was the driver, who figured out that Pete must have set the trap, noticed Richard didn't look too good. "Hey man, you okay? You don't look too well," he said. "Yeah man, I got bad guts. I ate some salad last night and I think someone spiked it." Pete looked up. "Which salad was that?" "I don't know man, it's just some salad in a bowl," Richard replied. The one that said "Pete's salad don't touch" on it. So Richard looked slightly annoyed at the others, understanding what Pete had done. "Yeah, but that's not on. I mean, you deliberately put all sorts of stuff in that. My arse is on fire this morning. You could have poisoned me." Pete was desperately trying to keep a straight face, as everybody else was now laughing out loud, but he couldn't resist keeping it going. "So what you're saying is you're pissed off with me because I spiked my salad, which belonged to me, that you ate." By now Richard was aware that he had to admit defeat and sloped off back to his bed mumbling as Randy played Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash on his acoustic guitar, accompanied by gay laughter. So it's like book 2 is there's lots of things go on as they're touring around America.
Nice, mate. Well, we're going to have to book in a book read as well. But for you people at home, you obviously want to buy it. So whatever it takes, babe, you can see the links of where to buy it from on the title page of this episode. So make sure you find them. Make sure you go and get your copy now and get to a Sad Café gig, and then he will sign it for you.
Yeah. Towards the end of the year, good chance of that. We're writing new material now. So we're going to have an album out shortly.
Lovely. Okay, so I'm going to be seeing you in a couple of months on the Jaden show then, I think, as well. We need to be talking about the musical side of Mr. Tong as well, I feel.
Yes. Yeah.
Des, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for reading from your amazing book. And we will definitely be in touch. And people at home, if you've got any questions for the author that you want him to personally ask you, then please write them in the comment section of this episode. And Des and I will get back together again soon to answer your questions. Des, you're a diamond. Thank you so much. We're in touch.
Yeah, my pleasure, mate. My pleasure.
Take care, you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Des, for being part of today's episode. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to get a big house with a big library after all these authors that I'm meeting here with some bloody amazing books, because there are some great books on this show, and today is no different. So I hope you will go and check out the links on the title page to this episode as to where you can go and buy whatever it takes, babe, and make sure you add that to your beautiful book collection. Get on and do that. Or if you've got any family members, if there's birthdays, stuff coming up that you need to think of a gift for, you've got some great book choices on these shows. Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm all very excited to be back with you on the next episode of Book Read. Will be episode 14. I'm also going to ask you to go and check out the Jaden shows and to go and check out the other shows on JCTV. Make sure you have subscribed, make sure you have liked, make sure you comment if you want your questions answered from the author, and also please share with your family and friends. It'll be amazing, and it's so useful for me and the artists that feature on all of my show. You take care, stay beautiful. See you on episode 14.